going to do boats. So I'm just going to do two, and these are like Japanese fishing boats. So I hope you like Japanese fishing boats, but I'll show you how to paint one. And although Western boats are a little bit different, it should give you a good idea of how to approach them as well. So it is a good idea, if you are a boat lover, to go and find, well, I suppose you could find it on the internet, some pictures or images of boats, and then just copy them and paste them and print them out. Or better still, go out yourself and find boats you like at the river or by the sea, if you have the opportunity to. Okay, so first of all, I think I'm going to do this boat, and I'm going to have it going away from us. So I've got a purple mix here. You want it to be a little watery, and the first mark is the most difficult. It's curving like that, and then I'm going to have it so the top bit actually sticks up a bit, and then as it comes down it curves. So the thing that makes boats, in my opinion, interesting is the curves they have. Maybe that's a bit too much. And those curves are also the thing that makes them difficult to paint as well, though. So, and then we've got the back. Now the back of a Japanese boat is very interesting. You've got a bit that's like that, and it's very, very long, and then it goes in and down like that. So that's that bit done. And then there's the inside bit, and we can just see some of that. Like that. Have to keep this bottom wet. Yes. Need a wet bottom. Sorry for that terrible joke. Okay, and then but it is an important point. So, and then we've got this bit here, and then just a suggestion of that. Or we might have something here. You've often got this little thing sticking out. I don't know what's in there. Maybe some kind of container. Okay, maybe need to make that even stronger. And then reflections. It's drying out very quickly. I might spray above it. There we go. Remember, don't spray directly at it, spray above. And then I'm going to have the boat moving in the water, so I'm going to do waves like that. So you really need to exercise extreme confidence here. Otherwise it's probably not going to look good. As you can see, these are lovely smooth strokes I'm making here that almost seem effortless, and that's how they need to look, because if they look a bit kind of hesitant and worried, then it's not going to look very good. It's not going to look like water. Luckily I've done this quite a few times now, so it tends to make you a little bit more confident. Doesn't always mean it works, but you do tend to get a bit more confidence or something like that. And then maybe here I should make this darker, and then here I'm going to have my figure, my fisherman, like this. So I do the head first. Very important to work out where the head is. I guess his arm should be there. I'm not sure if that's a bit too long, his arm, and his legs are in the boat. So I might make him bigger. So I hope you'll learn from my mistakes, but I think in some ways these mistakes will be good for you. And yeah, because you will see how you can correct things. And I'm just going to have a post up here and another post here, quite a big one, and you do get all these little things, bits of wood going across. I'm probably adding a few too many, and I'm going to darken this because the inside of the boat would be a bit darker, I think, and a bit darker here. Really it should be light here, but just darken the whole thing like that. Looks okay. And we've got one of these funny things up here with these little lights and stuff on it. So you have to do these strokes with a certain kind of confidence, and then a line across here. So what I've done is I've got some water, but then I've used my rag to get rid of that excess water so I can make a thin line. Just check on some scrap paper, and then here we go. There we go. Now at first that's probably not going to work for you. Don't worry, it's just one of those things that comes with lots of time and practice, and even then it can sometimes go wrong because you get the willies, and then you can't do such a lovely stroke. It happens all the time to me. And then we got some flagpoles here, and that's one, and then one here, and then that's too thick, but I've done it now, so can't change it. I could wipe it out later. Now can you see what I've done here? I've basically wet my brush so it's really watery, and this post is still wet. That's important. It's not at a damp stage, it's really wet, and it just bleeds into these flags, and look at that. It just gives it that little bit of magic and that sense of movement. So that was a blessing, that was. And I think that's more or less it. We could add another figure here. I might just do that so so you can have a go if you want to. It's good to know how to change and mess around with things. So I wasn't going to add a figure, but I will now. Some fisherman, maybe he's I was going to say playing with a net, but it's not playing, is it? It's a real job. Okay, so then have some line like that. I mean, obviously that's a mistake because the boat's moving and he's got this net in the water, but there you go. But at least you get the idea of things you can do. You have to laugh. And here we go, give him a cap. So you can give him a cap if you want, like that. And there we go. So if you want, you can add tiny little details, like maybe along here there might be some boats normally have these lines, don't they, which are very nice, and it really adds, actually. It really adds. I'm not sure that one did though, but let's hope. And yeah, that's pretty nice looking. I might want to do these a bit darker. And oh yeah, you normally get these little posts here for tying up the boat, mooring and stuff like that. And so there we go. There might be things along the side, I forget what you call them, like rubber tires or things that when the boat docks it stops the hull getting damaged, so you might want to add them. I'll have a go at doing that in my next picture. Okay, I'm now going to do the boat, and it's going to be coming towards us, and let's begin. I was wondering whether I should try and do a blue boat, but normally they're white, so maybe I should go for a really light purple. Let's give it a go. Got the worries about this. I've never done this before, but there you go. So first of all, I think about how long's my boat going to be. About this long. And it's curved. And then here we've got the front of the boat. Like I said before, these curves are beautiful, but they can make painting a bit tricky. Okay. Yeah, and I think I'm really going to exaggerate the front of this boat. Look at that. Can you see that big curve I'm doing there? And then this nice curve here, and just going to do this. Ooh, bit red, but I'll just leave it. Just wanted to get a nice edge there. I'm just going to spray it because once again I'm getting a wet bottom, and let's see. Let's make this bottom a bit darker, shall we? Actually, this bit, it kind of goes in here, and it is actually darker. So that looks quite good to do that, and it's correct. I do use my artistic license a bit too much, I think, but I'd sooner be like that than an overly serious artist. It just seems a bit of a contradiction, that does, a serious artist. You know, one of these rule followers. But there you go. And then I'm making it darker. I like to think art is one of the things where breaking the rules is to be encouraged. that might make me sound like an extreme libertarian, but I'm not. But I like to think in watercolor painting you can let your hair down a bit and really have some fun and play around. Oh look, that worked out lovely, didn't it? I wasn't expecting it to be so good, but it's drying out and I haven't done the top yet. But can you see how I've done these little marks, and sometimes I join them and sometimes I don't, and because I haven't done the top bit I haven't thought about how that's going to get reflected here, so I'm just guessing because this is drying out very quickly, and so I have to do it soon, otherwise no chance. Yeah, and you get these real weird little, I'm not sure if you call it a cockpit or steering bit. They're quite interesting in Japan. You get all different shapes. But these Japanese fishing boats, they tend to be very long. Okay, that's a bit messy, but it works. And let's give like a little bit of a post at the front, like that. Something there. And there might be some kind of railing or something here. This is all just messing around and guessing, but it kind of looks good. With time, you'll just get a feeling for like adding little things that might not even be there, but they end up really adding to the picture. Ooh, this is a dry area. I shouldn't have gone there. Okay, or an almost dry area. If it was dry, it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so then I'm going to have my fisherman maybe here. Okay, and I'm going to have a post about here. Oh, and I might even try, let's do a thin line. Maybe it should be a bit high. Maybe it's a bit low here. See where I'm going? There we go. That'll do. And just wipe out that. Yeah, wet my brush, dab it, and then maybe I can get a white line here which would look good like a highlight. It's still a bit too wet, I think, for that. So maybe if I dry my brush, I might be able to get a little white line which would act as a highlight. Yeah, oh, great stuff. Just spray it a bit. You can see where I painted again, that was a mistake. And you can also see in a way that it's a bit too dark here, so I'm gonna dry my brush out a bit and then I'm just going to wipe this paint out. Now, I don't recommend you do this, but I like to think I've got a good feeling of how wet or dry the paint is, and that just comes with a lot of time and practice. And once you get that feeling, that sense, you can sometimes correct things. So like there, I could correct that a little bit. Let's have a look. I'm quite happy with this. Oh yeah, posts. Oh, they're nice. And then wet my brush and let it just flood in to these flags like this. Isn't that lovely? We can even try and make one of them blue. Oh, here we go. Here's a bad idea. Ideas can be a bit dangerous. Oh yes, it worked. Shall we try and do a red one? I'm getting carried away now. Getting a bit excited. Okay, here we go. First I'm just doing pure water, because I don't want it to be a perfect red. I want it to be like intense red in one bit and then fading into a light red, if that makes sense. So here it's very, very red, but I hope it will get softer. It's not doing it, it's being resistant. Oh yeah, there, can you see that? We've got a real red bit here and a softer bit here, and it looks nice, doesn't it? I think it looks nice. Okay, yeah, I'm really happy with the flags. I think the flags are the most successful part of the whole painting. Now this is getting dry, and what I want to do now is, I said I was going to do these like things on the side of the boat. I wish I hadn't said that now, because they're quite difficult. So like this, hopefully this is wet, I mean dry, and at first it doesn't matter too much, this, because I want it to be dark at the bottom. It's quite big, isn't it? Not sure if they're normally that big. Okay, quickly get rid of it. Ooh, make it a bit shorter. There we go. So hopefully you're learning from all these mistakes I'm making. I wish it was intended. Okay, so there we go, there's one. And then what you do is you just wipe it out. Takes a little bit of time, but bit by bit it should start to come out. And it's still too big. I should have made it quite a bit smaller than this, but as long as you get the idea. Okay, here we go, bit there. Okay, there we go. So that's huge, but maybe you get the idea. And shall we do just one more? Just here. Try and make it a more aesthetically pleasing size. Although in Japan, one of the things I like is they have all kinds of things hanging off the side of the boat. Tires and these things, and they don't really care about it looking that good, just as long as it works. Okay, there we go. And a bit of red, trying to get a purple, because that'll look like a kind of shadow. Yeah, like that. And perhaps this, I need to take more paint away, and because I'm impatient, I'll just use tissue, because it's super powerful. Yeah, that looks a bit better. I would recommend you use tissue a lot, because I tried it one time for skies and I hated it, and I just gave up. And then for some reason, can't remember what it was, I just started using it again, and I kept using it, and sometimes I didn't like it, but sometimes it gave me absolutely amazing effects, unbelievable effects. So it's very useful, very, very useful. So I completely changed my mind about that. Okay, so I hope you can't see the bald patch on the top of my head, but if you can, then apologies about that. I never even knew I had one until my wife told me. Very thoughtful. Okay, anyway, let's not get distracted. Here we go, it's getting there. You can see I've wet the brush, and this is just water, and I'm just wiping the surface in order to get it whiter. And then really I should try and make this graded wash. And I'll just try and do a dark bottom. Okay, like that. Oh, so I did manage to do it after all. I'm trying to get that curvy shape, yeah. And here, it's a bit like that. Oh, that looks quite good. Sadly, this one is huge. Yeah, they actually even use polystyrene, I think, for these things. Okay, there we go. So I might just add a figure just for fun. This video clip is getting quite long though, so I'm a bit worried about that. Might cut off at any moment. Sometimes happens. So this man has got an arm coming out here and an arm coming out here, and this time we're going to do him with a net. Now I should leave this to dry before I do this, but sadly I didn't. But there we go. Finished. Oh, I might just do a hat. And there we go. Finished. Okay, just one more final thing. So I might do some lines, like a blue line. And let's have a look what that looks like. So could go seriously wrong here. Oh, so there we go. Actually quite nice. And I'm just going to do a shorter one here. So sometimes it goes a bit off, but just stick with it and it's good enough. And you don't have to, but if you want to, you could always. This is cheating and it's not really transparent watercolor painting, but you can just paint over, give him a blue hat. Ta-da! And maybe we could give him some, is it dungarees? I don't know. I keep calling them dungarees, and if that's wrong then I'm sorry, but these were boiler suits. Yeah, there we go. See, it's very simple, but suddenly we've got this something happening that looks quite exciting, right? And maybe give this guy over here a red hat. And this is all really, really good fun. Okay, and I might just use that red. I should let this dry a bit, but as you've probably figured out by now, I am an impatient watercolor artist, and often I don't wait for the things to dry. So I recommend you wait, and then I'm going to wipe this out. The only good thing about being an impatient watercolor artist is that sometimes the colours blend a lot, and luckily people who buy paintings often like that. I mean, sometimes I do. There we go. That's quite nice. Maybe I should make his shirt a little blue because it will stick out. We want him to stick out a bit more than he is. And there we go. I think that will do. And it's quite a nice thing, quite a nice scene. So please have a go, and happy painting. And please remember, I've painted these boats many, many times, so it really does get easier the more and more you practice. So please remember that, and happy painting.